happy that everybody is here. I'm so excited.
Hi, Vaughn. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, Leah. Holy crap. All
I'm
right.
wearing my green because I didn't leave the house on Wednesday.
Yeah, this is about as Irish as I am. I should go ahead and spit in the tube and see if I actually have any Irish in me, because there is a chance, right? Because I don't know. There is a chance. There's a chance in there. So, welcome everybody to this Friday's Chillin' Chat. I am Cynthia Varkevisser, and I wanted to talk about something a little bit different because people have been talking about these huge shifts that they're going through. And a lot of times these shifts are actually um, physical. So a lot of people are talking about, hey, this is what's happening. I've been walking along and then this happens. And something happened, something I was thinking about this, then this happens. So I thought it would be great, since we're talking about energy today, if we talked about our bodies. And the United States is really good at handling us functionally or skeletally, but not holistically. And so my goal is to help us figure out in our bodies what is energetic, what is emotional, and what is physical. Because then a couple things can happen. One is when you go to the doctor, you can actually be a little bit more right-sized about what's going on with your body, and it'll be a little bit easier for your clinician to assess. The second is that we can go ahead and manage in a certain way our anxiety or something, so that we can figure out maybe within ourselves what can be done within our body, and then manage. So I won't call this pain management. I'll call this pain awareness or uncomfortable awareness. And once we can separate out the energetic portion of what's going on in your body to the physical part, then what will happen is that we can actually take care of ourselves in a much better way. I like to think of it as a form of self-care. So does anybody have a question about that? No? All right. So for those of us who, just to clarify, a lot of people say, oh, Cynthia, I don't know what you mean. I hurt, and then I take a Tylenol. Well, here's what happens. I like to think about, we are all one unit. Our body is one unit, even though I have 2 hands and 2 feet. So whenever I have, what else? What is it that happens? Whenever I have stress, I forget to breathe. And so what happens is then my chest bunches up, and then what happens is that my muscles get tense, and then it gives me a headache, and then it gives me less range of motion. And then what I want to do is I want to take an ibuprofen, so that it can, because it's a muscle, it helps, it helps with your muscles. And so even though it gives me a little bit of alleviation from that pain, it's not really getting to the source of that problem. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to go, okay, I'm stressed out. Let me go through my breathing exercises. Let me go ahead and do these things. And then with whatever's left over in that pain, then I can go ahead and prescribe that thing. So I'm going to go ahead, and just so you know, it's not always just about pain. It could be, um, Scout and I were just talking about energy, and she said that she wanted to come to one of my classes, but she was wiped out and she slept. And it could have been that she was catching a bug, or it could be that she was just wiped out energetically or wiped out emotionally, or a combination of 2 or 3, right? So what I'd like to do is, I am not a doctor, but just for today, let's call me doctor. So why don't you talk to the doctor, and let's talk about an ailment or something, and let's see if we can separate out one piece of this ailment, and see if we can either alleviate just a little bit, adjust it a little bit, or just see what happens. Just see what happens. Does that make sense? All right. Okay. Who wants to share? Who wants to talk to the doc? Oh yeah, Sue.
I'm a sharer. I'll share with you.
Awesome.
So I am a super healthy person. I live healthy. I do all these things. But for the past 12 years, I have been on high blood pressure medication um, because they say it's hereditary. Both my parents have high blood pressure. I'm not overweight. I don't smoke. I don't eat fast food. All of the normal things that they tell you to lower your blood pressure, lifestyle changes, blah, 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 all of that. I have done all of that. I meditate. So I still continue to have high blood pressure.
So, how old are you, Sue? Can I get your age really quick?
I'm 51.
And when's your birth month?
July.
Have you had a reading with me before?
No.
Okay, so what I do is I take your age, I take your name, but since I got it, right, that part's easy. Then I tap into your energy, and then I just ask some quick questions.
Sure.
Right? So I can tell you that you, first of all, I really love you. And the truth is that you handle your stress in a certain way in which you consider 70% stress level as okay.
Mm-hmm.
And because of where we live and what we're going through, sometimes it is okay. But there's a part of you that really needs to dip down into like the 20 to 30 in order to really feel the difference of not only your energy level, but what you consider healthy. Okay. Once that happens and you can dip down into that level, then what it does is it just expanded your barometer. And then from there, you'll be able to adjust your stress levels. You're so good at managing your stress that you're going to freak out once you realize that there is no stress. So when's the last time you went on like I'll call it social media, but a media break?
Never.
Okay. So I would encourage you to go on I encourage everybody to do this. I actually encourage myself to do this, is to go on a 72-hour break. And it's actually like a silent retreat. And you don't have to do a silent retreat with a bunch of people, but it's a commitment to get off the phone, get off all that stuff, and really just sit in silence. And if you can even not read a book, and you actually have to sit with yourself for 72 hours, first of all, you're going to find out you're actually a pretty good person and that you're really worth hanging out with. And second, you'll be super aware of Laura, you'll be able to feel what your energy levels are and your stress levels, right? Once that happens, then you're going to go ahead and shift it up. Now, having said that, what I'll tell you is this: in my way of work, hereditary means two things. We inherit things emotionally and we inherit things physically. And it's in my experience with you, your parents were also people who dealt with stress in a certain way. So it is more lifestyle than it is hereditary. Don't be surprised if you can move the medication down. But because of, I also believe that genes are a living thing, so that, I don't know if you'll be able to go all the way off medication, but you'll probably be able to just to shift it up and be able to do it. So highly recommend a retreat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I need a vacation.
Yeah. Here's the thing: a lot of times on vacation, people still get on their social media and all that stuff, so they don't really drop down. I'm telling you, 72 hours of complete silence. If anybody wants to do it, I'm happy to facilitate. It's amazeballs.
I will need help because it's very difficult for me to be silent.
Yeah, it's wow. As a matter of fact, a lot of people won't do it because they're afraid to be silent. Right? They're like, oh, I'm gonna cheat. No, you're not. You're really not. And then you're gonna sit with yourself and get super uncomfortable but by hour number 8, you're gonna go, I fucking hate this. I'm just gonna get the hell out. Give me my phone. Where are my keys? By hour 12, you're like, this isn't so bad. By hour 24, you start moving into it. And by hour 72, you're like, I'm not really ready to. So then what we have to do is then we ease you back into the noise. But it's really amazing. Really, really amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else? Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
So I am a stomach side sleeper,
Uh-huh.
and my shoulders are starting to speak to me. And I'm normally like a really good sleeper,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I moved, and it's really loud where I live, from living on a ranch in the middle of nowhere, and I still haven't gotten used to it after a year. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, actually, you're actually, you talked about this, that you're an anxious person and you're actually living in your gut.
I just learned. Yes.
Yeah, and you're living in your gut. So you're living in your,
Still.
so you can do a couple things. You can go ahead and change up your eating to help your gut out a little bit, right? You could do that.
Been doing that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll continue.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do is, my daughter and I wanted to, it exists now, so it kind of sucks, but we wanted to do we wanted to have a warehouse in which I would do readings in one place, and then the other side would be called the break room. And then you could just go and break that you wanted, right? So now they have
Right.
stuff like that. That is the place for you. So, so what's happening is that I feel you in my upper tract, and so that's causing your chest to stay uncomfortable, which then says not good sleep, which leads to tossing and turning, or even worse, staying in one place and then
Yes.
you're
Passing out.
Yeah, and so that's where for you. So go break shit, like really break shit. Make sense? So what I usually tell people is you go.
Cool. Okay.
Go
That
to
sounds like fun.
Yeah, go to Goodwill, buy a bunch of cups and saucers and stuff at $1 a piece. Invest $10 to $20. Find a place, bring a bucket and broom because you want to be that kind of person.
And safety glasses.
And oh yeah, safety glasses. I wing it.
Right.
And then you just go ahead and do that and then sweep it up. You'll feel so much better. Yeah.
Lovely. And then create art.
Yeah, you can totally create art with it if you want to. Yeah, if you want. You can do whatever you want, or you give it to someone else to create art. That's the route I go. All right. So Matt, I couldn't.
Cool.
I couldn't.
Fun.
I couldn't hear
There we
you.
go.
So,
Nice. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, go ahead, Maddie. I cannot hear you. So while Maddie's looking for her thing, is there anybody else who wants to talk about their energy? Oh, you lost her.
I had a question, Cynthia. I was recently recommended going through maybe a soul retrieval process, and was told I could do it myself or go through, a shaman or something. How can you explain a little bit more about soul retrieval, or if you've, lost energy or pieces of it, what that process is about?
Yeah, I'll call it splintering. And I am not a shaman, so I'm going to use my words. Is that all right? So what happens is that when you read those books and you have heartbreak and then you say, I lost a piece of myself?
Yes.
So it's similar to that. So what happens is that there are places within this lifetime and sometimes in other lifetimes in which you have splintered pieces of yourself off. Okay. So it could be, for me, it's like, okay, so I have a brother who, our dad died when he was 11 years old, and a piece of him was splintered off. And I don't know if he ever recovered from it. So he could retrieve it now, or he could pass away. He could pass and transition and never reconcile. And that part of him will have splintered off for this lifetime. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so then what will happen is then you go on in, and someone will help you if you'd like, and they help you retrieve that piece. And by doing that, it's a form of healing, right? So it's like getting back a sense of self. So it can be from this lifetime or other lifetimes. But that's what the splintering is in my dictionary.
And do those splinters manifest then as more physical ailments and issues within your own body if you know, coming into the next lifetime, or if you've splintered during this lifetime?
It's actually a really good question. And my short answer is yes, because whenever there's loss, we can talk to Fluffy about this. Fluffy had just recently lost a piece of his foot. And so from loss, you have to make adjustments in order to become whole, right? And I'm using air quotes if you didn't have a chance to see that. And so what happens is that it can manifest itself physically and in certain ways, like you carry yourself differently, that kind of thing. So I don't think that it manifests itself. I'm not an expert on this part. I can't say with certainty that it manifests itself in a certain lifetime to like say, like in a future life, Fluffy, will be born without a foot. Do you see what I'm saying? That it manifests itself literally, but it does manifest itself in certain ways. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's also my philosophy that if you can really reconcile with yourself in the present, then you don't have to do any of that stuff, because that's exactly that is the reconciliation. That is the wholeness piece, which is not easy. It's not, it's simple, but not easy. This is so serious. I love it. It's so crazy. Does anybody have any other questions? Oh, Maddie.
Okay, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you. Yes, we're good.
So I don't have any, I'm very, very blessed to not have any physical ailments, but I'm wondering if this also relates to like mental stuff, emotional stuff, or just physical ailments.
Okay, so the answer is it affects everything. So remember, so in the beginning I said that you treat your whole body as one. The one thing that we don't do is we don't treat our emotional, spiritual, physical as one, right? We go, oh, my spiritual self does this, and that's actually a bunch of crap. We carry all of ourselves wherever we go, right? So wherever we're in imbalance everywhere. So if you're out of balance spiritually, then it affects you physically, it affects you emotionally. It's all one thing. So because you are a lovely young person, I highly recommend getting into the practice now, because I did this. I was like, I'm strong. I look good. I don't have to worry about this. And so I kind of faked it. And then all of a sudden this is no joke. I'm 54. And then all of a sudden I turned 53. And then I couldn't open up the pickle jars, and then I couldn't do these certain things, and I can't maintain the things in my head. And people are like, it's menopause. So I love, just so you know, I put a little bit of stock into it, but there's more to it than that, right? So and so I'm trying not to kick myself in the head going, man, if at 30 I hadn't been fucking around, right? But I can't. So because like what I said, I just need to reconcile my now. If I can reconcile my now, then I'm good. So practice reconciling your now, and your 50s are going to be, they will be golden for real, instead of like, ew, right? Or, or beyond. Actually, I'm having fun in my 50s. It's just, a little bit different.
There's a chance I don't know what you mean by reconcile it now.
Ah, okay. Reconcile now is think about people. I'm sure there are people in your life that you have yet to forgive. And of course, there's parts of yourself that you haven't forgiven, right? So reconcile now is to forgive all that stuff. That's only on the emotional level. Then on the physical level, you want to eat properly to your body, right? So that means your body says, I want cheesecake. And you're like, cheesecake, is that going to work for me today? Yeah, then cheesecake. I can tell you I can eat ice cream on certain days, and certain days I'm like, there's absolutely no way I can eat ice cream, right? So it's that stuff by really paying attention to yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually. That's the reconciliation, right? So kind of
Yeah.
like with a bank account, you reconcile. You just make sure it's all balanced out.
I've been like my since I was a young, like 12 or 11 or whatever years old, I've had like all different kinds of like mental and emotional things, and I like struggled with like severe eating disorders my whole life, and I started taking Prozac when I was 21. I'm 27 now. And lately, in the last few months, as I've been more coming into myself and like becoming more comfortable with my intuition, and like I'm realizing that the anxiety is just leaving naturally, because the anxiety was all based in the material world. And as I'm leaving that and becoming more like spiritual, I'm like been thinking maybe I don't have to be on the medication anymore, because I was also taking like amphetamines for ADHD, and like that once I got off Adderall, it was like life changing. It was like that was so clearly keeping me so rooted in my anxiety and in my own mental illness. And I'm wondering, as I'm like recovering, I'm wondering if I'm on a path to like not having to be on Prozac for the rest of my life, which would be amazing.
So here's how I'm going to respond. Okay. Everything is for a reason. Okay. And that includes medications. So when it comes to medications, I say tread lightly and go with care. Same thing as if you were to work with foods. There are, there are chemical imbalances, there are emotional imbalances, there are all these things. And it's a very delicate balance. All right. So what you want to do is that you want to be with someone that you trust in order to start making these shifts. Even so, let's just say we just went straight up Western medicine. If we went straight up Western medicine, your body shifts, and the Western medicine recognizes that. And so there's going to be adjustments, right? It's also important for you to be really aware of your body so that you can advocate for yourself and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And then you need to find the medical practitioner who's on board with the way that you want to practice. All right. So the way that to give you a complete answer, I think we should get into a reading for it, because what we would do is we would take practical steps so that you could test yourself along the way. All right. But that's the important thing. So just know, yes, there's always going to be shifts to your medication. A lot of times it will be on an energetic and emotional level, which also affects yourself physically. But because you are in the medicine right now, it's really important for you to do it with care.
Yeah.
All right. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So anybody else have any other questions? Yes, Laura.
Okay. And sorry if I missed anything in the first couple minutes, but I think I'm picking up on the trend that's going on. So what I have known about myself most of my life is that naps are not good for me. They make me feel more tired. I don't want to wake up from them, blah, blah, blah. Yet over the past couple months, I find myself sleeping 8 or 9 hours and then desperately wanting a nap throughout the day, in the morning, in the afternoon. And there's plenty of reasons, as you know, for me to feel tired right now. And like, so is it something to just accept and embrace, or is it actually sort of like a negative habit that I should try to resist and not be napping and sleeping for 11 hours a day?
Okay, so that's actually a really good question. And my answer is, you're not sleeping out of depression, right? You're not sleeping out of depression, and you're not sleeping out of, because energetically, I don't feel that. So then you're in recovery or recuperation, right? So
that's what I'm so afraid of, that somehow it was like a depression that I'm like ignoring or masking.
no, you're actually in a really good space, but it's kind of like you had been in reserves for a really long time. And so now you're doing more than filling up the tank. You're making sure that the tank is clean. You're making sure that you're using the right kind of fuel. You're doing all these other things, because what you did to bring yourself through took a lot of energy. So it's, let's just think of it as, shoot, what's that? You're in for your 90,000 mile.
Oh, yeah, I know
maintenance,
what you mean.
right? So it's a big maintenance. So that's where you are. You've worked your vehicle really hard for the first 90,000 miles, and now you're in a place of care, and then you're going to go ahead and move it. So don't worry. Don't worry. That's,
Okay.
I love that you were worried about that. It's super cute. So cute.
Awesome. And that's a wonderful analogy. I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good. I'm so glad. I love that everybody's got like this, you know, light stuff, but good information, good questions. Does anybody have any other questions? Go ahead, Ms. Debbie.
Hey, well, I've been getting a lot of headaches and like eye strain, but the thing that I'm asking seems, the thing that I'm going to ask you may seem silly, but I am super struggling with the time change. It's always thrown me off, no matter which way we go. But this time I am dying. Like, it is killing me. I cannot get up in the morning and I'm not sure what else I can do. I generally try to ignore it and just like, okay, this is fine. It's normal, but it's just, I don't know. It's never been this bad before.
It's a really good question. You actually are, you're actually really tired right now. You know what I mean? Energetically, I feel you and you're super tired.
Yeah.
How old are you? May I have your age?
60,
And what's your birth month?
August.
Okay, so I will tell you, 2020 was not kind to you, right? It was not
Right.
kind to you at all. It kind of threw you for all kinds of crazy little loops. And so what's happening because of this time transition, it's not that it's because you're still trying to recover from 2020 that you're having a hard time catching up. It's kind of like your 100% is really only 50% because that's just what you got in the well, right?
Mm.
So that's not a bad thing, but it's something that you want to kind of it's something that you want to be aware of, and it's time to start taking mini breaks. So you're at a place where you're pretty, which is funny because we just talked a little bit ago, and I heard what you do, but what I'm hearing through guidance is that you're pretty regimented, like you know what's going to happen and all these things. So what you're going to want to do now is consider this a plateau of your energy and give yourself a lot of little breaks. So, and then if you can give yourself a snack. Now these snacks are not, when I say snack, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean food snack. So give yourself a joy snack, right? So I love Calvin and Hobbes. So, and I haven't done this. I don't even know where my books are. So what I would do is every 50 minutes I'd work, and then for 10 minutes I go grab water, well, as if I'm doing it. I'm not, but I'm pretending, right? So if this was my thing, and I think I'm gonna adopt it, is you do work for 50 minutes, you go get your water, because then you're moving your body around, and then for the rest of the 10 minutes, you read Calvin. I would read Calvin and Hobbes, and then I would crack up, and then I'd go back to work. So that's my snack, right? And my next snack is maybe I want to go and torture my cat, right? So I'm going to go watch my cat on catnip, crack up for a little bit, and then take the catnip back, and then I go back to work. So these are like little snacks, and those are the snacks that you. So what you're looking for is you're looking for emotional breaks, because you are really diligent. And the diligence is kind of grinding away at your energy. It's like slowly but surely your tank is going down, down, down. So you don't just drop. It's just down, 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 down. So by doing that, what'll happen? It's going to help you go back up, not just for the time change, but also for recovering from 2020, because you haven't yet. I mean, I don't know if anybody has, but it really did a number on you.
Okay, thanks. That's something I've been actually just starting to work on, is breaks and self-care and doing nothing for a while. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Call them joy snacks or fun snacks.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. Fun snack. I want a fun snack. Does anybody else have anybody have any questions? All right. So let's talk about this. let's talk about, because I love relationships, let's talk about how relationships affect your body. Okay. Because why not? Why not go there? So here's the deal. What we find out, what I have noticed with my clients is that my clients are incredibly generous and very giving and hardworking, and that it's really hard to be on the receiving side. What I also find out about my clients is that when they finish giving, they don't stop and fill the well. So here's the thing that's really important. I talked about this last night. What I'd like to do is I'd like you to all just think back to the very first time of your very first like love. Okay. And you see a lot of people smiling, right? And all of a sudden your energy changes. And what happened is that everything in the world was beautiful when you had that very first time of that very first love, because your vibration went up, and it's actually a great form of protection. Your vibration goes up, and then anything lower, you just can't see, or it just isn't acknowledged. So, someone's crying over there. You're like, oh, that's really beautiful. But it comes from that compassionate side. Or you'll see, you just don't see it. You're only seeing all the beautiful things. It's because you're seeing the things that vibe with you. Okay. So that's your highest form of protection. And then we became grown-ups. And with this grown-up thing, everything had conditions. Which is a beautiful thing, because that's how we try to understand. The other side of it is that we don't close a door when we're done giving. All right. So it's really important that if you're with a client and you don't feel like there wasn't an even exchange, give yourself a moment, because if they didn't give you your energy, if they didn't reciprocate energy, then it's important for you to find energy in a different space. And it can be done by, like with Debbie, a fun snack, right? Or you can meditate, or you can do something to shake yourself up to allow the energy to move up. All right. If we don't do this, what happens is then we see our next person, and then we get into the habit, and our reserves go down, and then our reserves go down, and our reserves go down, and our reserves go down. And then you can't figure out why the hell you're resentful or tired, because there's no one to be resentful to. And there's no reason, because it was just a day. But there's no reciprocation, which is really important for you to feed yourself. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions about that?
So how do you fill your well back up?
I'm so glad you asked. So there are a lot of ways to fill your well back up. It's incredibly personal, and it's also important for you to know that it's almost infinite how to fill your well back up. One is a hug. And I know with the pandemic, it's a double catch, because people get sad because they don't get to hug people the way they want, or the people that they want to hug, they don't have a chance. But a hug, because then it's an actual hugging is amazing, because it's an exchange of energy. So if you ever hugged somebody who's like down and they're like stiff, and then if you just relax, then you'll find that they relax, and then you'll find that your energy goes down a little bit, but then their energy goes up, and then your energy goes up. It's a really lovely thing, right? So a hug works super fast. Well done. You can go for a walk and just go into curiosity. The thing about curiosity is an energy attractor and not an energy detractor. Anything in curiosity. Now, I will qualify that by Googling something does not count, because that causes anxiety. So anything else, lift up a rock and see if there are any bugs. Curiosity, and it's an energy attractor. Okay. Going for a walk, doing meditation. When you do meditation, you will find that there are meditations that can lift up your energy. Okay. Music, energy up. Those are just a few. Anybody else want to add some? So Samantha is, she's a runner now. She's an athlete. I was supposed to be running with her, but I never did. But I have my Fitbit. So, so Samantha, how's your mood been since you've been running?
It's been a lot better. I definitely notice on the days I'm able to run, because I'm not able to run every day.
Sure.
So on the days that I'm able to run, it definitely makes a huge difference. And the days that I'm not, I do tend to feel a little bit more like, not necessarily down, but just, I definitely don't have the same energy.
Right, right. And Samantha has 2 kids. So, right, hugging, so she gets to hug the kids.
Get to hug my dog.
And right, and everybody, and if you watch, a lot of people will hug their look. So Laura's got her dog, Leah, you had your dog, Samantha had her dog, right? So and during the pandemic, there is a reason why adoption for dogs went crazy. My daughter got a dog. I am now a Sammy, you'll love this. She calls me Doma. Right.
That's awesome.
Oma is Dutch for grandma, and so I'm a dog Oma, so I'm Doma.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, any questions about that? Did that help you out? Oh, gardening, being around plants, being around nature, right? I hate telling people I don't hate. That's a really strong word. There's only certain couple things I hate, but I do not say that I'm a tree hugger, and generally I'm not. Have you ever sat up against a tree, or you know what I mean, or just kind of leaned up? It actually works. Being near water, right? Certain kinds of nature. And if we're going to stick with energy, you'll know that everything, I come from a line where everything holds energy. I believe in animism, right? And I'm lucky because I'm from, my family's from Indonesia, and that's an Indonesian thing. So you can say I'm Christian, but I also believe in animism. I'm Muslim, but I also believe in animism. So animism from the islands is always the underlying thing from the religion. So you have your religion, and then there's animism, which is kind of a cool thing. But if you can recognize that everything has energy, all you have to do is find that one thing that has higher energy than you and go to that thing, and voila. But if your house has really fucked up energy, no bueno. Then you got to get your house cleared and blessed, which can be done. It can be done. It's not impossible. So, yeah. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Anybody have any questions about anything else related to physical, emotional, body stuff? All right, let's do this. How many of you enjoy going to the doctor? Raise your hand. Oh my gosh, so many people. Even better, how many of you like going to the dentist? Oh yeah, Laura. Laura likes getting her teeth cleaned. All right, so here's the thing. Clinics and hospitals are not the cleanest places on earth, all right? And they're not the most welcoming things on earth. They're trying. They're really trying. They're making their hospitals looking really sleek, more comfortable. The staff is changing their way of, it's really lovely. And some hospitals are introducing Reiki as part of their wellness program, which is fantastic, right? But here's the thing that I invite you to do is that before you go in, instead of being nervous, instead of wondering what's going to happen, instead of thinking about all those germs that could be around, I'd like you to do this. I would like you to take, before you get out of your car and go in, just go, how can I be of best service energetically? Right? Or think about how much you love your body before you go on in. Because then what happens is then it changes your energy. And then not only are you feeling better as you go into your doctor, but you're helping people who are nervous alleviate their stress. Pretty cool, right? All right. Does anybody have any questions? No? Anybody need a meditation to get their energy up higher? Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. All right. This is a meditation I did last night. So if you were in my class last night, I hope you enjoy a repeat class. But here we go. This is a version, Laura McKinley and Yvonne. This is a version of the inner smile. All right. You ready? So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'd like you to take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Go ahead and do them at your own rate. And once you've done those 3 deep breaths that signals that you're ready to do a meditation, I'd like you to go back to your regular breathing. With each exhale, I'd like you to release. I'd like you to release an expectation. I'd like you to release an inhibition. I'd like you to release an anxiety. And I'd like you to just take a few more breaths at your normal rate with these releases. Just keep releasing. As you release, you find that you are calmer, quieter, and clearer. From this space of clarity, I'd like to get physically present. And we do that by feeling the bottoms of our feet, feeling the tips of our fingers, palms of our hands, and feeling the very edge of our scalp. Once you can feel these 3 spaces at the same time, I'd like you to feel each and every cell in between. Just acknowledge that amazing body of yours. It's working so hard for that sheer perfection called you. From this space of physical presentness, I'd like you to now acknowledge your energetic body. And that is that space around you, that protective bubble, so to speak. I'd like you to feel the expansiveness of this bubble, the tensile strength of this bubble, and the clarity. From this space of expansiveness, I'd like you to put a smile on your face. It could be a small one, it could be a big one, doesn't matter. Just put a smile on your face. And feel the shift in your energy. Now I'd like you to take that smiling energy and I'd like you to send it out to all those people that you love. Just send it on out. And now that they've received it, I'd like you to send your smiling energy out further to all those that they love. So send out that smiling energy. And now that they've received it, I'd like you to once again send out your smiling energy to all the people that they love. And now, like all those people who've received your smiling energy, to return that smiling energy, their smiling energy, back to you. Just accept, just receive. Feel that energy. Know that you'll continue to receive this energy throughout your day. Enjoy it. Revel in it. Once you can trust that this is true, take a nice deep breath. Return to your physical body. Open your eyes, and you're back in the room. How's everybody feeling? Let's see, smile, 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 smile. It's hard not to smile after that. How you feeling, Scout?
Good. Made me cry again.
I
Can't help it.
I
I did
love
the
it.
meditation this morning too.
Did you?
Yeah,
It's a great meditation. It's a great
I
meditation.
like it.
For-
Can I share something that I felt during that meditation?
Absolutely.
So as I was sending love to all the women in my family, because I feel very connected to the women in my family, and then you said, now send love to the people that they love, and my brain thought of all of the men that those women love, who I do not care for, at like my sister's husband I don't love. And that was it took me a minute to be like, because at first my first instinct was, okay, everyone but him, right? Every like, I'll send my love to anyone but him. But then that wasn't what ended up happening, because that's not what my inner love wanted to do. So it felt really good to send love to people, unconditional love to people, even if I don't
Agree with them.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Totally.
so that's my new thing is, instead of saying I don't like somebody, I just say, I don't agree with them right now. And hopefully that agreement will change.
Well, and I'm working on like unconditionally loving people in my life, like truly, like in ways that I'm not familiar with. So that was an important practice, to send him unconditional love. I don't know.
Feels good, right?
Yeah, feels
At the
good.
end of the day, right? It costs you nothing. It costs you absolutely nothing. So I'm talking about energetically, when you are completely centered and you're sending out love. So my teacher, her name's Connie Jackson. I call her my Swami mommy. She would always tell, I have a story beyond that too, but that's for another day. So my Swami mommy would say, hey, do you love them? Right? Because I would complain about something. And I said, well, yeah, I love them. And then she says, then let your love for that person be greater than the piece of crap thought that you're having right now. Now it doesn't make anything go away, but what it does is that it reminds you what you're doing and why. And it also reminds you when to say no. Okay. Does that make sense? Because you're loving that person, but there's going to be a time where there's that thing was like, I really love you, and the love, it's really easy. My love for you is here, and then my love for this thing is here. My love for you is so big that I can raise it up. But there are times where I'm like, I love you here, and it's what my partner says, I just can't get it up, right? Which is awesome. I can't get it up. And so what's happening is it's a backwards way of saying, I love myself more than this. So now I'm going to extract, right? It's a pretty amazing thing. And I always crack up when she says that. I can't get it up. I'm like, yeah, sometimes that happens. So, but it's really interesting because when we do this, if you think about it mathematically, right? Mathematically, you're like, I have a hard, it's really hard to believe that my smile is infinite. So it's easy to go, oh, I'm stretched out. And then all of a sudden, all this energy comes back at you. And mathematically, you're saying, it's hard for me to accept this, right? I just have to sit. And a lot of times that's where the discomfort is in the receiving of the energy. Highly recommend you do it though. The more you practice, the more the understanding is of how energy works. Yeah. Anybody have any questions around it? No? You guys, I can't believe it. I got like the quietest group. So crazy. And we got the cat. She got cat love going on. I love my cat, but they're kind of jerks to me. Yours too, Sue? I know. They're like, oh.
Yeah, my cat, I'm like, she's kind of an asshole. So
yeah. Right? I am just, I am a tool for her. And I'm like, I love you. And she's like,
my daughter comes over and she's always like, where's the kitty? And she wants to pick up the kitty. And the cat is like not having it. And she's always like, just let me love you.
Yeah, my cat does that thing. It's like, love me. And all of a sudden her paws in my face, like, yeah, that's too much. Right? Pump your brakes. All right, so now, does anybody have any questions about energy and relationships? No? Because I know that everybody has a relationship, doesn't have to be intimate, in which every time you see them, you're like, right? Or it goes down, or it's a little bit of a challenge. It's really easy to procrastinate stuff, right? Or it takes a little bit more oomph just to go talk to them. Anybody? Right? Because this falls under it, our emotional bodies, our physical bodies, because you get tired. My throat.
So I find that with my mom, and I'm going to talk about this because I know she's not listening right now. I feel like I have this idea of what I want a relationship to be. But then when I'm around her, I have such a short, like, not temper, but I just have so little patience.
Tolerance.
Tolerance. Thank you. Sorry, I'm having work done in my backyard. I don't know if you guys can hear that noise in the background. But I don't know where to start to work on that, to have that, to give her more grace, I guess.
Yeah, moms are rough. They're a tough one. And they're tough because the bond is so tight. And the sad part is that, well, as a mom, you're still seeking approval from your mom. And at the same time, you're seeking approval from your kids, and you're kind of fucked, right? Because you're like, how do I do this dance? And for me, I wanted to be the cool mom, and then I wanted to be the good daughter, and right. And then, I'll be honest, I was a little bit competitive even with my brother. And so, she loved my brother, and I'm like, damn, he's an asshole. Right. And yet, so here's the thing. There's a couple things that you can do. And I'm happy to work this with you. I want you to know that there's actually a series that I do called My Mother's Work. I highly recommend you, Samantha, I highly recommend that you come to it. And so what it does is it helps you reconcile your mom, because your mother's side, they are the givers of, they are the bringers of legacy. They carry legacy. All right. And that's the thing that's really important. So as much as you say, I don't want to do this with my mom and I don't have talent, guess what? It's legacy, which means that you're going to hand it off to your kids, especially your daughter, right? So, but here's the thing that I invite you to do. It's called soul talking. It's really easy and you just need to trust. And if you don't want to do it by yourself, give me a call, right?
Okay.
So basically what you do is that you go into you go into this really safe space in meditation. Okay. There's actually 2 ways to do it. And I'll tell you both ways. So, so then you go into this very safe space and you want it to be sacred to you. So in my imagination, I'm in a meadow, I'm sitting up against a tree. There are some flowers, but it's open, which is kind of nice for my safety because then I could see from all directions just in case. But it's quiet, it's always sunny, and nothing's dead. But it's it's a meadow, so it's not always just all green. And then what you want to do is that you want to call upon your mom and have your mom come at you, come towards you, not come at you, come towards you at a leisurely pace, and to stop at a distance that is safe for you. Okay. So some days, when I was talking to my mom, she'd sit right next to me. Some days I'm like, oh, no, you can go over there. Right. And it's okay because this is our imagination. So it's okay. And then what I'd like you to do is this. I'd like you to ask your mom, what is it that she would like from you for today? Okay. And then ask your mom, what does she think you want from her today? And then you're going to be floored that it is nothing what you expect. Okay. And then once that's done, when she starts running her thing, you can go, holy shit, there she is doing that thing that she thinks is helping me and it's not. Or she's looking for this kind of response so that we can have this kind of togetherness and it's not. And then you get to respond with them from a different space, from a higher energetic level.
Okay. Interesting.
Another way that you can do it is that you can sit down, write your mom a letter, right? And then switch the pen into your left hand and let your left hand respond.
Okay.
Either way, right? It's what's your trust level. Okay.
Okay.
The last thing is, and then I'll close this up. The last thing is it's okay to not respond to your mom. Meaning you don't have to take the phone calls. You can say that you're too busy. You can say all these things and they are actually true statements. And then what you do is that you do your energy gathering. So you go hug your kids, do the thing. And then you could say, Mom, I totally love you. I only have 5 minutes. Right? What's up?
Okay.
Right? Just so you know, I do this with one of my kids. It's like the most amazing thing I've ever learned.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Sue.
I had a coach once because I've done a lot of work with my mommy issues. Number one, she taught me that I don't always have to defend myself. Every decision that I make, everything, I don't have to give excuses, reasons why, any of those things. And use the techniques you use with your kids to redirect when they're starting to go down a road where you're like, I am not doing this discussion. So how's Aunt Joni doing? Works every time. They don't even know it.
Right. So here's the thing. That's actually really good stuff, Sue. And here's the other piece. I like to look at it as your responsibility. So the thing is that Samantha and her mom, Samantha's always the fixer, right? And so it's like she's on call 24/7. And so there's one more thing that you can do. And I'm not going to record it. I'm resuming recording.
I like that. Yeah.
Here's why. You asked a really good question, and I want to make sure that that people receive it in the highest light And I don't want people to go and take it out of context and go, Cynthia is manipulating. No, it's not true. What's happening is I'm having you learn a new skill without saying, hey, you're learning a new skill. What I'm saying is, hey, let's do this with your mom. And then complain. Oh, yeah, I already did. Do your thing, hang up, and then giggle until you cry. And it's okay, because when you cry, you're going to feel a little guilty, and then do your next thing. Right? It's so you're teaching yourself something too.
I like it. Thank you.
I have one more comment. My relationship might be a little bit different with my mom, just because she wants to fix me all the time. She wants to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Which drives me freaking crazy. So what I do is I call her, and because she wants to be useful. She wants to be important to me. She wants to be the person who has all the answers. So I call her when I need it. I might know the answer, but if it's about gardening or cooking, I call her and ask her. She loves it. She gets to be the expert, give her advice, and I am ready to take it. So that has worked really, really well for me too. So I've done a lot of work. I understand where you are. It's not easy.
Yeah. So yeah. Does anybody have but it's super, super effective. So any questions? I love, just so you know, it's one of my favorite. Everything's my favorite. I mean, if you know me, I always say it's my favorite. But it is one of the things that I love to do, because what it does is that it helps make things a little bit more right-sized. Yeah. All right. So I want you to thank you so very much for coming. I do chill and chats every Friday. If I'm not there, if I'm not, for some reason, it's I can't do a chill and chat, just know that you're going to get a little nugget of something. Last time I did it was handwriting analysis. It was a little bit weird, but it was kind of funny, right? Because it said "fuck Bank of America," or I think is what it said, right? And I was like, oh, here's handwriting analysis, and so we talked about it. I am doing. What am I doing? I'm doing a free classes called "You Know You're Intuitive. Now What?" I've got some. I've got a work your intuitive edge session coming up, and build your intuitive edge. And what that is for you to understand your intuition, so that you can take advantage of your energy level to help raise other people up to their energy level. All right. So I invite you to check that out. We'll talk more about that later. Otherwise, come find me on the Facebook group, or see me at one of my events or at the next Chill and Chat. All right. All right.
Hey, thank you.
People, thank you so very much. I love seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Maddie.
Really good to see you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And I still have your deck. Oh.
Well,
yeah.
you let me know when I can come over.